What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Verts. My name is Harrison Graham, and today we unveil my first two-round mock draft here on the channel. Our fourth mock draft overall. Was feeling like, you know what? Let's go through the first two rounds here on today's show. At number one, I'm going Cam Ward to the Titans. I know there's all kinds of rumors of what they're going to do at one. I still think you rarely get a chance to pick a quarterback number one overall. I get it's not a great QB class, but I think Cam Ward's worth the swing for where Tennessee is. At number two, the Browns do not take a quarterback. They select Abdul, the edge out of Penn State. Who knows what's going to happen with Myles Garrett moving forward, but getting Carter here as a potential replacement or someone to pair with him, I think makes a lot of sense. At number three, the New York Giants get Shedeur Sanders, the other quarterback in this draft. I thought about Travis Hunter, but again, I'm going to continue to say it. As long as the Giants don't have a quarterback, they're going to be desperate to get one. Maybe they end up trading for Matthew Stafford. For now, I've got Shedeur going to New York. Number four overall pick, Travis Hunter, the do-it-all player out of Colorado. Sanders, his teammate, he ends up with the New England Patriots. We'll see if he plays corner, receiver, or both in the NFL, but regardless, you're getting a hell of a talent in Travis Hunter. Okay, channel goal, we're trying to get to 8,000 subscribers by the NFL Combine, which gets going next week. We're less than 500 away. These mock drafts have gotten a lot of good feedback from you guys, so hit that subscribe button if you want weekly mock drafts, other draft and free agency coverage, and just daily NFL content in general. Would love to get to 8,000 subs by next week. Let's make it happen. Okay, at number five, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Mason Graham. I think one of the highest floor players in this draft. Thought about going Will Campbell here, but to protect Trevor Lawrence, but I had the defensive tackle out of Michigan. The Raiders, they're going to get Tetairoa and McMillan, the Arizona wide receiver. I get it. They don't currently have a quarterback, but I think there's a good chance they could sign Sam Darnold. You pair McMillan with Brock Bowers, that's pretty fun. Okay, at number seven, the Jets select Penn State tight end Tyler Warren. I think he's a stud. I think he's right up there with Brock Bowers as a prospect. The Jets get an impactful player. Okay, the Carolina Panthers select Mykel Williams. Some people would call this a reach, and it's certainly a traits over production pick, but he has incredible arm length, really good talent. He's only 20 years old. The edge out of Georgia doesn't turn 21 until late June. I like the selection for Carolina at number 8. Okay, Will Campbell, kind of a BPA situation here. You could argue for the Saints. Also, Will Johnson was still out there. But I like Campbell to New Orleans. Probably plays guard as a rookie next to Talise Fuaga. But I think you plug him in there at left guard, and you feel pretty safe and pretty good about that selection. All right, Armand Membou, the offensive lineman out of Missouri, goes to the Bears at number 10. He's played mostly right tackle, some right guard in college. Obviously, the Bears have Darnell Wright at right tackle, but after Will Campbell, I think I like Membou the best among the offensive linemen right now. So kick him inside to guard. I think he could play either guard spot. He's not going to play left tackle in the NFL. He's just under 6'4". I just don't think he's big enough, tall enough to play left tackle, but he could play right tackle. But for the Bears, he'll probably play guard. Okay, Walter Nolen lands with San Francisco at number 11. He's rising, as is Membou in this draft, and I think the Niners going trenches, offensive or defensive line, makes too much sense. The Dallas Cowboys get a playmaker in Luther Burden III. I thought about Ashton Genty, but I like pairing Burden with CeeDee Lamb. You're paying Dak Prescott $60 million per year. Get him another weapon. Okay, Tyler Booker goes to Miami at number 13. I think one of the most surefire players in this draft. The Dolphins need help along the offensive line. Both their guards are set for free agency. Plug-and-play starter to help protect Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, Mike Green, the Marshall edge, it lands with the Indianapolis Colts at number 14. I think he fits their scheme well. You put him opposite of Latu. Latu, you've got your edge duo pass rusher pairing for years to come. Okay, Will Johnson still on the board. Just BPA situation here, pretty simple. Corner's not a top need for the Falcons, but you pair him with A.J. Terrell. I almost blanked on his name. That's a pretty fun duo at corner for Atlanta here at 15. Okay, the Cardinals get Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive lineman out of Texas at 16. Probably plays guard for them early on based on their current offensive line setup, but can play guard, can play tackle. He's got a lot of opinions among draft experts. I think middle of round one is good value for him. Jalen Walker, the linebacker edge hybrid out of Georgia, he lands with the Bengals at 17. Latest reports suggest they're going to try and make it work with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson. So if you get both Higgins and Chase back, I think going defense makes sense here. Jalen Walker is a talented young player that you can put off the edge or an off-ball linebacker. You can move him around. I think he's going to be a really, really good pro. You just got to have a vision for him. The Seahawks get Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. He was one of the big winners at the NFL Combine. Really good measurables. The production wasn't really there in college, especially in terms of finishing plays, but if he can take a step there with some NFL coaching, I think he's got a chance to be really good. The Bucs get James Pierce Jr., the edge out of Tennessee, who was more productive in college, but a little smaller, not great against the run. He was the preseason number 1 pick in that mix coming into this college football season. Now scouts are kind of all over the place with them, but I think back half of the first round is excellent value. Ashton Jeanty, the Boise State running back, lands with the Broncos at 20. He kind of slid in this mock, but if you're Bo Nix, if you're Sean Payton, you did not have a great running back room last year. Jeanty at 20 feels like an absolute home run for the Denver Broncos, and Ashton Jeanty stays a Bronco with this selection. Which team will draft Ashton Jeanty? What say you? Where does he end up going? Kind of feels like the Broncos, or I guess the Chargers at 22 are the floor for Jeanty. I do think he goes in round 1, but it's a loaded running back draft. Maybe he slides a little bit because of that. I think Denver at 20, Dallas at 12. If the Bears load up in the trenches in free agency, I wouldn't be completely shocked if they took him at 10, although I wouldn't do that. What say you? Get your predictions down below. Okay, at 21, the Steelers select Emeka Egbuka, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. What is George Pickens' long-term situation in Pittsburgh? Is he a guy you give a second contract to? I'm not sure. Even if he is, you don't have a true number 2 receiver. I think Egbuka can plug in and be that right away. Colston Loveland, the Michigan tight end, goes to the Chargers at 22. He's a Harbaugh guy. They need a tight end. Feels too good to be true. Jahdae Barron, he's rising on draft boards. The corner nickel safety hybrid out of Texas. He moved around a lot. This year he played outside corner, won the Jim Thorpe Award. Green Bay probably going to move on from Jair Alexander. Barron can help replace him. Kenneth Grant goes to the Vikings at 24. If they add him to the middle of that defense, I think that unit gets that much better under Brian Flores. I like this pick and fit quite a lot. Gray Zabel, the offensive lineman out of North Dakota State, could sneak into round 1 here. Texans need interior offensive line help. He's the best one on the board. He can play center. He can play guard. Plug-and-play starter. Should be good to go. How about this for the Rams? They get Josh Simmons, I think one of the best value picks in this mock draft. If he did not have that knee injury in October, many scouts believed he would be the number 1 tackle off the board in this draft, and maybe there's still a chance of that, although I'd be surprised. I think at 26, though, great value. The Rams very well could let Alaric Jackson walk in free agency, and if they do, Simmons can replace him. Same with the Ravens. They could let Ronnie Stanley walk despite having a fully healthy and productive season this year. Josh Connerly Jr., the left tackle out of Oregon, could plug and play, replace him at left tackle as well. Of course, rookie left tackle is going to be some growing pains, but Simmons and Connerly, you get them in the back quarter of the first round. Feels like pretty good value. Another offensive lineman, Donovan Jackson, probably a guard, but could play tackle with Kevin Zeitler likely walking in free agency. Jackson could plug in and play guard as a rookie for the Detroit Lions. At 29, the Washington Commanders get Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Texas. They need a true number 2 next to Terry McLaurin. I think Golden checks that box and gives you a little more dynamic ability on the outside. Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle out of Oregon, one of many defensive tackles that I think in picks 20 to 60 are going to go off the board here. Bills add a pass rusher on the interior here. Chiefs get Malachi Starks. It's not a top position of need, but Justin Reed is a free agent. He could walk. This is just a BPA for me. There's not a great tackle on the board for this range. For Kansas City, obviously, they could use a left tackle, so they get Starks. He's a plug-and-play starter on the back end. And then the Eagles get one of the fastest risers in this draft, Darius Alexander. A little bit older of a prospect, but with Milton Williams probably walking in NFL free agency, Alexander could come in and help replace him in that role. Okay, round 2, Jackson Dart, first player off the board on the second day, quarterback out of Ole Miss. Browns don't go QB in round 1. They take a swing here in round 2. Have no idea how Dart's going to be in the pros, but I think on day 2 he's worth a swing. Okay, Alec Ailmanor, the wide receiver out of Stanford. He could sneak into round 1. He goes 34 to the Giants. If I'm New York, if I'm drafting a young quarterback, I'm trying to help him out immediately, whether that's O-line or receiver, and Ailmanor is someone who can help out. I think he's a good blend, too, with Malik Neighbors already being there. Ailmanor, kind of a bigger physical outside guy. Neighbors can kind of do it all. I like that 1-2 punch. Jack Sawyer, the edge out of Ohio State, goes to the Titans at 35. Really good against the run, solid pass rusher, team captain type of guy. I think a good fit for Tennessee. Elijah Arroyo, the tight end out of Miami, goes to the Jags at 36. You get a weapon here for Trevor Lawrence. Evan Ingram's future there is somewhat in doubt, so you add Arroyo here at 36. Jahad Campbell, he probably will go round 1, but the way this mock fell, he did not, so he goes 37 to the Raiders. I really like the 2 picks for Vegas in this mock. McMillan and Campbell, that feels like a really good 1-2 punch for the Raiders and that crew. Okay, New England does get a left tackle, Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota. I could see them signing Alaric Jackson or Ronnie Stanley, just throwing a bunch of money. And if they do, I would still like the pick of Ursary. Maybe he plays guard at first. Maybe you try him on the right side, depending on what you're doing with Mykel Owenu. Do you kick him back inside? Or maybe you just redshirt him. He's a guy that could benefit from sitting for a year, be a swing tackle, and then take over in year 2. Got the measurables. The technique needs a little bit of work, but I think early day 2 is a good spot for him. The Chicago Bears get a Marion Hampton, the running back out of North Carolina here at 39. For me, he's RB2 in this draft. Over 1,600 yards the year after Drake May leaves when they didn't have good quarterback play. He was facing 7, 8, 9-man boxes all season and was absolutely fantastic for the Tar Heels. TJ Sanders, the South Carolina defensive tackle, goes to the Saints at number 40. Again, there a lot of these defensive tackles. Pick your flavor. You want a pass rusher, you want a run stopper. Sanders more of a pass rush specialist. The Saints get one here at 40. Bears right back on the clock at 41. They get JT Tuimoloau out of Ohio State. Had an absolutely monster playoff run for the Buckeyes. 6 sacks in 4 games. Former number 1 overall recruit. Kind of put it all together in his senior season. The Jets get Tyleik Williams, his teammate, at number 42. So they go Tyler Warren on offense, Tyleik Williams on defense in this mock. Niners stick with defense. Trey Amos, the corner out of Ole Miss. The way this mock fell, they're going to lose Trevarius Ward, so Amos could help replace him at that outside corner position. The Cowboys get Nick Scorton, the edge out of Texas A&M. Big boy, 6'4", about 280. Kind of a tweener, can play some edge, can play some 3-tech. Unclear if Osa Odigizua is going to be back. Is Micah Parsons someone they consider trading? They could use another pass rusher. DeMarcus Lawrence is a free agent as well. Unclear where he's going to end up. So I think he's a guy who kind of helps give you some insurance, if nothing else. Okay, Harold Fannin Jr., one of the most fun players in this draft, just put up bonkers numbers for Bowling Green. Not much of a blocker, but as a tight end slot receiver for the Colts, get Anthony Richardson another weapon. He's a big play weapon, and Richardson, we know, likes to chase big plays, and Fannin can help create some of those. Demetrius Knight Jr., the linebacker out of South Carolina, goes to the Falcons at 46. The Cardinals get another defensive tackle in this draft, Alfred Collins at 47. Really good run stopper, one of the best in this class. Needs to improve a little, give you a little more juice as a pass rusher, but he can move people in the trenches. I don't think that the Dolphins are going to bring back Javon Holland, so Xavier Watts here at 48 I think is a perfect replacement. 13 picks the last 2 seasons. I think it might actually even be an improvement for a guy on a rookie contract. Love the value there for Miami. Jonah Savanaya, the offensive lineman out of Arizona, played tackle in college, has the measurables to still play tackle, but a lot of scouts like him at guard because his feet quickness is kind of average, so you put him inside. Bengals could start him at guard, but maybe they consider starting him at right tackle depending on where they feel. I'm forgetting the kid out of Georgia they drafted last year to play tackle, but regardless of where they feel. Who's that? Amarius Mims, thank you, producer Colin. Depending on where they feel he is in his development, Savaiinaea could play right tackle, but probably plays guard. Hell, put him next to Mims. That is two bulldozers on the right side of this offensive line. Okay, Wyatt Milam, the offensive lineman out of West Virginia, played tackle in college. Arm length just under the measurables of what NFL scouts typically like as a tackle, but maybe you try him at right tackle. If not, you kick him inside to guard. He got some center reps at the Senior Bowl. So versatile player, a lot of experience. Middle day two is a good pick here. Okay, Benjamin Morrison, the corner out of Notre Dame. I wouldn't be shocked if he flirted with the first-round selection, so the Bucs give him at 51. I think that's a good pick for Todd Bowles' defense. Jack Bech, the TCU wide receiver who had a huge Senior Bowl, he's been rising. Broncos get another weapon for Bo Nix at 52. They got a couple of speedsters on that offense. Bech is more of like the Cortland Sutton mold, where he's kind of a physical outside guy, but played some slot in college too, so he's got some versatility. Shout out your favorite college football team. I am a TCU alum, so who is your squad? Let us know in the comments whether you went there or not, or maybe you're not old enough to go to college yet. Who's your favorite college football team? Let us know who it is. Okay, Tyler Shuck, the quarterback out of Louisville. Part of this is for my boy Sperry. Jack Sperry, who hosts our Steelers channel, big fan of Tyler Shuck. And hey, Dane Brugler had him like 65 on his most recent big board, so I think he'll go on day two. He is very old. He will turn 26 before week one. So second round's a little rich for me, but I could see the Steelers signing like an Aaron Rodgers to a 1 or 2 year deal, take a quarterback on day two to sit for a year behind Aaron Rodgers. Okay, the Chargers get Donovan Ezeraku, the edge out of Boston College. Love the scheme fit in that Jesse Minter defense. Can really get off the edge. Had a big season for BC. And Khalil Mack, who knows if he's back. Joey Bosa's a prime cut candidate. The Chargers are going to need some help off the edge. Princely Umar Maleen lands with the Packers. Lucas Van Ness really hasn't panned out for Green Bay, so they add more of a speed, athletic rusher in Umar Maleen. Not great against the run, but has pretty good skills as a pass rusher. Jaden Higgins, the receiver out of Iowa State. Good size, speed combination here. Josh Allen gets another weapon on the outside. You go him and Keon Coleman on the outside. Khalil Shakir in the slot. Pretty fun trio there for Buffalo. Shamar Turner, who had a foot thing re-pop up, could not go to the Senior Bowl because of it, so the medicals in Indianapolis at the Combine next week will be critical. But if that checks, if that clears, I think at day two is really good value for him. Do not be surprised if he rises if the medicals clear in Indy. Panthers get a receiver at 58 here, Xavier Restrepo. Now, Adam Thielen is kind of just a slot at this point. Restrepo's basically just a slot. So do they trade Thielen? Do they cut him? Do they kind of stagger those snaps this year? I'm not sure how that works, but Restrepo's a QB-friendly receiver who knows how to get open, and getting another piece like that for Bryce Young makes a lot of sense to me. Landon Jackson to the Ravens at 59. This is like classic Ravens. Guy just kind of falls into their lap. Some people think Jackson could go top 40. He's sitting there at 59 here. Another good pass rusher for Baltimore. Siobhan Revel Jr., the corner out of East Carolina, only played in 3 games this year, but he's getting a lot of, some of this is lazy, but I think there's some legs to it. Comps to Quinyon Mitchell, like small school, good physical traits that I can translate to the next level. Lions could use a piece on that back end here next to Terry and Arnold. Ozzie Trapillo goes to the Commanders at 61. Probably going to cut Andrew Wiley at right tackle, so they'll need to find a replacement. I think Trapillo can plug and play and start. There will be some growing pains. He's not a perfect prospect, but a guy you can kind of develop on the fly on the front side of Jaden Daniels. Bills add a corner here with Darian Porter, the corner out of Iowa State. He's got good size, good physical traits. They need help both on their defensive line and in the secondary. I've addressed both of those issues in this draft. The Chiefs land Cameron Williams, the offensive tackle out of Texas. He's got incredible physical tools, but the technique needs a lot of work. He was a right tackle in college. They obviously have their right tackle in Jawan Taylor, a contract they can't really get out of, but they can next year, so maybe they kind of redshirt him for a year, and then he takes over in 2026. Marcus Membou, the offensive lineman out of Purdue, played tackle and guard in college. I think he's a guard in the NFL. If the Eagles were to let Mekhi Becton walk, you could bring him in, let him compete with Tyler Steen for that starting right guard job. If Becton returns, you probably wouldn't draft him, but unclear if Becton's going to get paid by another team or not. So there you have it, a 2-round mock draft as we are getting closer and closer to the NFL draft. Combine gets going next week. I might do an early week mock next week, a pre-combine mock, and then a post-combine mock, so be on the lookout for that. But whoever your favorite team is, how would you grade the picks for your favorite team? A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know how I did for your squad. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody who's tuning in. Again, we're trying to get to 8,000 subs as soon as possible. Would love to get there before the Combine gets rolling next week. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.